What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's another Friday night. Welcome to the Skeptical Help Bar. I am your skeptical bartender, Kenny Biddle. And tonight, we're going to have an open forum. We're going to talk about questions. You're going to give me questions. I'm going to give you a skeptical opinion in return. But before we get going, I'm going to make sure that I share this to all the places that I have to share it because I want to get it out there so as many people as possible can actually take part in this. So I hope everyone is having a great Friday, or at least, it's getting better. So there. All right, so let me go over what we're doing today. Just in case you guys don't know who I am, you should know by now, but I am broadcasting on WLFE-DB radio network. So just in case nobody knows me over there, my name is Kenny Biddle. I am a skeptic of the paranormal. I write for Skeptical Inquirer magazine. I do a column for them. I also have a blog called I'm Kenny Biddle on Facebook. And I also do a YouTube channel. And that goes out to, what's that name? Kenny Biddle. That's my name. So there. Now, the rules for tonight. We are talking, let me get on to the comments here so I can see. Let's see. All right. So the rules for tonight, number one, is this is open to paranormal related questions. So if you have questions and you want to throw them out there, go right ahead. I'll give you a skeptical opinion in return. And that kind of rolls into rule number two, where I'm not always right. I don't know everything. I don't pretend that I know everything. And I usually try to look it up or get you an answer at some point. So what else? Oh, rule number three is that this show promotes open discussion. That's it. It's open discussion. It's not to belittle anyone unless they're a dick. It's not to start fights. It's to have open discussion between people with different beliefs and different backgrounds. Let me share this because I didn't realize that this is not going. I think I shared to the wrong page, but we're going to fix that in just a second here and share. There we go. So if you're seeing this, I think if you're seeing this on my I Am Kenny Biddle blog, then you might be able to comment and it'll show up. I'm not sure. I might have screwed this up. So with that said, because I don't see any comments coming through yet, hopefully they come through. Not sure. Oh, hello. There's one. Yes, it works. All right. So tonight's theme is improving paranormal investigation techniques. This is a question I get asked often. When I show up at conferences, when I show up at different places, I get this question a lot. Oh, Kathy's feeling pretty good right now. All right. Hey, Jupiter, what's up? So, basically, when I show up at conferences, when I show up at other events, and announce, or I see people that know me, or I start getting into discussions with people, telling them that, yes, I'm a skeptical guy. I usually get questions like, "Oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? How can I improve this? I do this." So the conversations that I have are usually pretty good. We get into improving methods, whether it's methods of investigation, like trying to figure out a mystery, trying to understand what is happening with an experience. Sometimes it's better techniques for looking at photographs and video. Sometimes it's what else? I have notes here. I'm totally cheating off my notes. Sometimes it's research. How to research a house or a person or an event that happened in history. So I try to offer as much as I can. And there's a lot to do. There's a lot with investigating all of these different things, analyzing evidence or data, investigating people, places, things, so much going on. So I'm putting it out there. I have my rum, my specialty. If you want to ask questions, please throw them in the chat room so I can see them, because I am seeing all the chats now, which is nice. I'm glad it works. And we'll see if we can get this going. If not, I'm just going to go right to some announcements and then I'll just shut down the bar. Oh, it's been a long week, honestly. Work has been crazy. So I've been getting in at like 1 o'clock in the morning the last couple days. So it's been kind of tough. So, but now it's the weekend. I have off and I have alcohol. And that's it. I guess nobody has questions. I guess everyone's happy with what's going on. Let me check over on my other page to make sure that I'm not missing stuff, because I think I did do it backwards here. I usually share to my I Am Kenny Biddle blog and then share it to my personal page, which brings stuff in. But I don't know if that's going on here. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Bob says, oh, wait. Bob says, I may not be on long. Live videos have sucked today for me. I've had to leave Zoom happy hour early. Oh, my goodness. Well, Zoom, I know, like I haven't used that much. I've used it like twice. And I don't know if there's issues with it or not. I don't know. Let's see. Kent. Hey, Kent. Have you ever held your own recorder and heard a voice unexplained on it? Have you ever held your own recorder? Like held it in my hand? And heard a voice unexplained on it. Well, there's a few things with that. First, I don't ever recommend holding a recorder in your hand, like ever, because the small recorders, and I have a bunch of them here. Let me see. I have this and this and this, and one of these old school things. But all of these have the microphone right up on the base, on the outside. Even these have the microphone attached to the base, the casing. So the vibrations, the friction from your hand can cause weird noises that are amplified because it's right on the microphone. So I don't ever recommend that holding it in your hand. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant or not. But and as far as unexplained voices, that's subjective. That's honestly subjective, because it comes into who's hearing what. And is there any hey Carolyn, hey Eric Christopher Myers, wow. Voltron, yes. There's a lot with the digital recorders, because you can have weird noises that people interpret as voices. It doesn't mean that they're actually voices. And when you're in that environment, when you're in like a haunted location or allegedly haunted location, and you think you're looking for ghosts, and you think you have ghosts, or you think the place is haunted, you're obviously going to be looking for that kind of stuff. And when you replay the recordings, obviously you're looking for answers, something that sounds like an answer to a question, because usually there's EVP questions that go along with it. So it kind of puts it in some kind of frame of reference there. If you're asking like for a name, you're going to be listening for anything that sounds like a name. It might not necessarily be a name. And that's what I have trouble with, the whole classification thing, the class A and B and C, because it's honestly, that's purely subjective. There's no doubt about it. It's totally subjective, because it depends on the person hearing it. There's no independent analyzation of the audio recorders. No one's going to a linguist or professional, like a professional in speech and language, and getting opinions from them. It's usually the ghost hunter, whatever they're doing, they're recording it, and the ghost hunter themselves or their team are the ones that are interpreting the results. And there's very little scrutiny going on that I observe. And this is just my personal observations. So I can't speak for the entire community at large, but this is generally what I see. So to answer your question, no, I have not ever held a recorder in my hand and heard an unexplained voice. I've heard noises, but I can usually explain most of them or recreate them with little to no trouble at all. So I don't trust them. I don't trust it like that. I would, if you want, like, since this show is about improving, the theme is improving methods, I would suggest, if you're going to use any kind of recording device like that, audio recording device, use an external microphone. For one, don't ever use the microphone that's on the case. Plug in an external microphone and have it on a shock mount. I'll show you on this one so I don't mess up my microphone. But put it in a shock mount. like this. So the springs here, it's held in suspension, so it absorbs any of the vibrations coming from noises, and it filters out a lot. So that is the best advice I can give you if you're going to do such recordings. And if you do EVP recordings, I know I'm probably getting behind already with the first major question. I'm getting really behind. But if you're going to ask questions for EVPs, make them specific. Don't make general questions like that, like what year did you die? Because that opens it up to any number, anything that sounds like a number. Because you can, I mean, most people say like, oh, remember back in 87, they don't have to put the 1987. People sometimes say just the last two digits. So you could have a number like that and think, oh, well, maybe you mean 1887. So there's a lot of assumption going on there. I would ask specific questions relevant to the site, the location that you are. Ask for a specific name, like not just Dave or Sam or John, because they're common and they're really easy to get sounds that sound like them. Ask for specific long names and answers that are very specific, and then go from there. So hopefully that answers your question and gives a little bit of maybe ideas that you can play with later. So I'm going to keep going. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Let's see. Kathy says, okay, so for beginners, what can beginners use when first starting out in ghost hunting? A book. Read a book. Read a book. Read a couple books. And I know, like, I have a book recommendation for later in the show, but the first couple books I would recommend is Ben Radford's what is it? Ghost Investigation. Hold on. Now I got to get it because I got to make sure I get it. Oh, that broke. That's not cool. Let's see. I'll clean that up a little bit. This is a book I think you should get. If you're going to ghost hunting, this is a book you want to get first, because Ben goes into a lot of techniques and he demonstrates what's wrong with them and why they don't work. And it's an easy to read format. You can breeze through it. He has a lot of cases that he's worked on to demonstrate some of the issues. So that's one I always recommend. I would also recommend, let's see. Oh, wow. Let's see. Where's that one? Crap. I had it earlier. Did I put it over here? I don't know. I'll find it later and I'll put a link up. But read books on the equipment, especially on the equipment that you're using. Don't go crazy. Don't watch the TV shows and think, oh, I need that gadget that lights up with all the LEDs, or it does, 6 things in one. You don't need all that shit, because most of the time people don't realize they don't know how to work it. They don't know how it operates. They don't know what it can and really can't do. They don't know how to interpret the results. And like I've yet to come across anyone that has actually read the specs of any of this equipment. So don't go crazy with that. I would start out with a camera, a basic camera, and that's to document the areas, not necessarily to catch ghost. It's to document the area, what the area looks like. Get a notepad and pen to take notes. Get a tape measure. Get a spirit level. And a spirit level, I mean like an actual level. I have one here. Here it is. A level, like an actual level, so that you can look at floors. You can see if floors and doors, poet. If they're level or not. Because if doors are not level, they will have a tendency to swing closed. If floors are not level, if you put a trigger object like a ball, and somebody walks around, or there's some traffic outside that causes vibrations, yes, it'll tend to make that ball move. And if the floor is not level, it'll go with that unlevel surface. It'll roll down that unlevel surface. So I honestly, get some good books on science. Cameras. I mean, if you're into cameras, buy a photography book, like a how-to photography book, so you can understand what your camera actually does. So you're not going in blind, because too many people go in with a camera and they're like, oh, well, if I just take pictures, whatever shows up that's weird, that's a ghost. No, it's not. So you definitely want to understand what you're doing with the camera. So buy a book on photography, buy a book on investigating by someone that does it for a living. So that's the difference. Like Ben he doesn't do this as a hobby on the weekends. This is what he does for a living. So he's good at what he does. You also want the pad and paper. The pad and paper, the pen and paper, so you can take notes. Take lots of notes. The tape measure is to measure gaps, to measure different distances. If someone says I saw it down the hall and I only saw like the shadow figure was only like 20 feet away from me, you can actually set them up where they believe they were, and then say, all right, point out, where it was. The shadow figure was down the end of the hall against the door. You can measure it out and see. You might find out that it's like 50 feet, not 20. So big difference. Basic tools are good. Basic tools, and then grow. Don't give in to the hype of TV shows and these ghost gadget suppliers, because honestly, they're just cranking out shit to sell you. There's no testing involved. There's no actual product testing. So you can't go to like Consumer Electronics or Consumer Reports and, find out what kind of reviews there are. So I hope that helped. I hope that was a good answer to your question, Kathy. Thank you. That was a good question. We could really spend a lot of time on that. So let me get back to, let's see, Jupiter, Kathy, hell yeah. Bob, it's all live feeds today, including Google Meet. I've never been on that. Let's see if I can catch up. Oh, crap. I jumped ahead again. Let's see. Oh, wow. Let's see. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, Dave Caltrider, or Caltritter, however you say your name. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. I miss you too. It's nice to see you online, hanging out. Hey, Rich Rosal. Oh my goodness. I miss you too, buddy. Me and Rich have really good conversations. I really enjoy talking to Rich. We can get really in depth and in detail sometimes. So let's see. Oh, Kathy. Kathy says, in case no one remembers, it's the new moon today. So I'm sure a lot of energy is being put into the universe right now. Oh, see, now I have to drink because you said energy. And unfortunately, it's energy is one of those words, and I'm not trying to pick on you, Kathy, but energy is a buzzword in the paranormal community that is used so wrong. It's used completely out of context and not according to the definition. It's almost like a space holder, and I think I've used that term before. Well, probably not on this show. I think I use it on the 3 Tortured Souls podcast that I do. But energy is just it doesn't work. By definition, it doesn't work how that's being used like that. And again, I don't mean to pick on you, but it's a pet peeve. And it's also a drinking game with me and some other people, that every time somebody says it in the wrong context, we have to drink. So there's a lot of nights where we get really wasted on that, just on that word. So let's see, Jupiter. How would you suggest setting up a control condition for an investigation? In the case of checking a haunted house, wouldn't you need to compare to a non-haunted house of a similar age, similar architecture, etc.? The complexity ramps up very quickly. Yes. And honestly, I cannot answer that question because it sounds specific, but it's very general, because you're talking about a haunted house. Like, what's haunted about it? That's what we have to know. We need specific claims. Like, are people seeing things or hearing things, feeling things, getting pushed? Are things getting thrown around? We have to know the specifics of each case. And a good thing, this is actually a good question, and it goes into a lot more, but you need not only to compare to a non-haunted house if you're taking readings, but base readings. And we've covered this a couple times before, but it's always good to refresh this. Base readings, if you're taking any kind of environmental readings, you need to do so for an extended period of time. A 20-minute session before you start ghost hunting is not good enough. An hour or two before your ghost hunting is not good enough. A day is not good enough. Sometimes 24 hours is maybe bare minimum, because you get at least one cycle going through an entire day, a 24-hour cycle to see what happens. But you could have something depending on what you're checking for, or what conditions you're checking for. It could cycle every other day. It could cycle once a week. So you really need to get base readings for months. And I think I go by the rule of thumb. It's not really based on anything except longevity, is 6 months. 6 months, I would say you need to constantly, monitor an environment for like every second, like data log for 6 months, to make sure you understand all the peaks and valleys of the meter readings, the environmental readings. You understand the cycles that it's going through, and that you can compare it with something after that 6 months to see if there's any anomalies. But you also need to, you need to put the same equipment in a quote unquote non-haunted house to see what kind of readings you get there too, because then you have a control that your non-haunted house is your control set of values. So you need to understand what's going on in a house like that before you can go and determine if anything is an anomaly in a alleged haunted house. So there's a lot, and this is just like the tip of the iceberg, and it's a big iceberg. It's a big fucking iceberg. I mean, it's like Titanic taking down iceberg. That's how big this iceberg is with trying to figure out these things. But very good. Thank you for that that question. Let's see. Oh, Jupiter says, but is it good energy? Oh, everything in moderation. It's all in the dose. That's the rule of thumb. It's all in the dose. I mean, vitamin C is good in little doses, but you take too much, it can kill you. So yeah, I mean, good energy, bad energy. No, there's just different forms of energy. And we actually did a show on this. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago, we did a show on Three Tortured Souls, the podcast I do Saturday nights with Tim Vickers and Dave Schumacher. We talked about different forms of energy, which did not include spiritual or paranormal, because that's just not, it doesn't exist as far as we know. But we did cover different forms of energy, like potential, motion, and solar, electromagnetic, all these different types of recognized, tested, confirmed types of energy. So good and bad depends. You go outside, the sun's usually good. The sun supplies life to the planet. But if you lay on the beach and fall asleep, you're in trouble. So it's all in the dose. Let's see what else we got here coming along. I appreciate the questions, everybody. I mean, this is great. I love when you guys get into it and start asking questions. I love seeing the comments and the discussions in the chat room. I love seeing that. So Kathy's like, books. I meant tools, not just books. Books are tools. Books are tools. These are tools to supply knowledge. And knowledge, your brain is the best tool that you have. And the more informed, the more calibrated it is, the better. So books are good tools. But I did cover, I'm finally catching up a little bit. So I think I did cover some tools that I would bring. Let's see. Oh, Tim Vickers. Hey, what's up? Tim Vickers says, what is / could be a simple test / experiment that could be performed by anyone during their trek into an alleged haunted place? For example, a battery drain test. So that's a good, I'm glad you brought that example in. So there's a test that we do that involves a bunch of batteries. We usually take some batteries and tape them together. We have a control set, and then we have 2 other sets. Actually, I think we have 4 sets. We have a control set that we measure the voltage on and see what they're set at, and we leave them in a safe place, like a place that we have decided that is not haunted, nothing ever goes on, usually my house. And then the other 3 we take with us to the place that's allegedly haunted, and we put them in different places. And we measure them before we go in. So everything's measured beforehand, so we know what they're set at. And some we put under load, so we attach them to something that puts a load on the battery. And then there's others that we leave just out. And the idea, again, it's a ghost hunting theory, ghost hunting idea. It's not a theory. It's a ghost hunting idea that ghosts use batteries and can drain batteries in order to manifest things like a visible form or some kind of audio, a vocalization or something like that. So we've done little experiments like that where we've taken these sets of batteries, and I think there's 4 batteries. I think we get 4 D cells that are taped together, and there's 4 sets of these. So 4 sets of 4 batteries each, and 3 sets are taken with us. They're putting in the I guess the common places where most active, and we leave them there all night and walk around and say, all right, here's a couple batteries. If you need a little pep, you little like your version of Red Bull, here you go, take it, and see what happens. And then we collect them at the end of the night, or usually the next morning, because usually when Tim's involved, we stay overnight at a place. We take them back, we bring them back here, and we measure them all at the same time together. And we note any changes, any drains. And so far, I mean, for the experiments that we've run, so far there has been no significant drop in voltage. So nothing has been drained. The batteries are still good. But that's just a simple test. I mean, that's what we do. I don't do it many times because I don't get invited to go to like investigations where I have the control necessary in order to make sure no one fucks with them. But when we do, that's the result. And this is something, it's really easy. I think actually this was Ben's idea. I stole it from him because he talks about it in his book, and I thought it was a great idea. So good question, Tim. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Tom, what broke? I had a cigar. So I got this cigar from a distillery in Louisville, and it's in a case, and I knocked it over and it broke. It hit the floor and broke. So now I got a glass on the floor, but I'm not going to attempt to get up until the show is over. So in case I slip and fall or cut myself and I curse a lot, I don't want everyone seeing it. Yo, Bidler, says Taryn. Hey, Taryn, good to see you. Let's see, Tim says, I hope that bottle wasn't holding a demon. Well, no, that's on the other side of the monitors. So don't worry about that. Let's see. Cat Ward, got it. Thanks to you, Kenny. Great book. Oh, good, Cat. Oh, it was so nice because I did get a couple pictures from people watching from, I think last week's show when I introduced the Whodunits book. So a couple people actually ordered it. So I hope you're enjoying it. I really do enjoy that book. I have another book that it's over here. It's right there that I'm going to recommend at the end of the show, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's see. Terrence says, what is that naked doll in the background? Which naked doll? What? Her? That's Leia. She's the only one that's naked. Almost naked. Who's naked? Oh, wait, this up here? Maybe the one sitting here? That's an alien. I'll let you look at that a little bit more. So that's my Area 51 guy. There he is. He hangs out. He's got a boo-boo on his arm. Yeah, but that's how I got him. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Let's see. Only half naked. Yes. Carolyn. Carolyn says, I love that book by Rafford. Another good book, The Science of Ghosts by Joe Nickell. I have that too. I do have that. I'm going to try not to knock over shit. Let's see. I have... Oh, yeah. Here we go. So I have The Science of Ghosts and then Science of Miracles. This is good. I've read through this one. I haven't read through the Miracles one yet, but really, really good. I enjoyed it. I wanted to know where that one was. I was looking. It was called Scientifical Americans by Sharon Hill. That's also a good book. She looks at the whole paranormal community, the ghost hunting culture, as a culture. And I think she surveyed about 1,000 groups. Excuse me. And it was for her, I think it was for her college thesis. So she surveyed 1,000 groups and went through. She went along with some of the people and studied their methods. And it's a really good look at amateur research groups. And it's a very candid, in your face, but professional look at a lot of the mistakes amateurs make. So I do recommend it. It's a real good book. Let's see. You don't need equipment, recorder or camera, says Taryn. Well, it depends on what you're doing. Oh, wait, my ghost is messed up. Let me put him up there. So it really depends on what you're doing. The equipment, I mean, the recorder and the camera, that's equipment. So you do need some kind of equipment. And again, it comes to basic stuff like the spirit level that I showed earlier in the show. Flashlight, you need that because you need to see. Because for some reason, ghost hunters still like turning out the lights. I don't understand that. But what else? Tape measure. This is all equipment that you take with you. I mean, they're tools / equipment, but stuff that you have to take with you. It's not always about just walking in. And what I get sometimes, people have, other people have this different view where you can go in and just feel the place, or, some people that claim to be psychic, claim to go in and get feelings and read things and this and that. But if I'm going in there with a specific claim that I'm investigating, then I take the tools that are necessary to investigate that claim. So if say like a door's closing on its own, I will do the level, the spirit level, take it with me, see if the door's hung true. I will see if there's any gaps in the windows around the area to see if there's air gaps and measure them. That's what the tape measure is for. Measure them to see how much square inches or square footage is open to the outside. What else? You might want to put like powder, like baby powder. I have a thing of baby powder. Put it on the ground around it. See if it blows around. Feathers. Feathers are a good thing to use. Like down feathers on a string. Hang it up. See if they're blowing in the wind. See if there's a draft. So there's a lot of, equipment. Usually people say equipment and they're like, oh, that means, like shit like this and K2 meters that are useless. And stuff like that. But equipment can mean any kind of tools that you can bring to the investigation. So I use a lot of tools. I really do. And I use a lot more tools here. I have a little, the end of my desk is actually like a little forensic setup where I have my forensic photography stand so that I can take pictures and basically dissect gadgets and see what's in them. So, hey, Bob came back. Awesome. Let's see. What else do we have? I'm going to try and catch up a little bit more on some of these questions. Oh, I jumped ahead again. Oh, let's see. I think WLFE. I don't know if that means Teddy's in here. Let's see. What are you drinking? Oh, that's a good question. I can answer that. That's rum. There's lots of rum in here. Oh, wait. How far am I? Oh, there it is. I'm glad that when I put the comments on screen, they highlight in blue. Then I can keep track of where I am. So let's see. Rachel Kelly. Hey, Rachel. Oh, it's nice to see you. Wow. Ooh, look at that hair. That's high. I'm not used to seeing you with so much hair. But hey, Kenny, I don't give a fart about ghosts, but I miss your face. I miss you too. You and Brad, I miss you guys so much. I need to come down there and visit you guys. This whole quarantine thing needs to get over so we can get out and hang out together. And we gotta me and Brad have to have a rematch in the backyard. Let's see. Cat Ward says gadgets are unnecessary, mostly just flashy beepy things with pretty lights to lure undereducated folks into thinking they're talking to ghosts. You know what? I do agree with that logic. I do agree. Because the gadgets that are out there, there's a lot of them are based on the same principles. You have ones they're based on the Junior Thurman device, which is a lot of the plush toys and plush trigger objects. They're all based on the same exact component. The other ones, like the static ones, the ones that register static electricity, it's all the same component. It's seriously the same components that are inside with just a different dressing, and you're paying more for the outside, decoration, the little knobs and stuff that really don't do shit. You're paying more for that instead of, you can spend, like, for the static detectors, you can literally spend less than $5 and make one. For the Junior Thurman, the plush toys that light up when we get near them, when your hand gets near them, you can spend $10 online plus like $5 for shipping from like Mad Labs and get a Junior Thurman circuit to put together yourself. So for $20, you can have both these devices. So yes, a lot of this is flashy, beepy shit that you don't need. You really don't need. There's nothing that proves they talk to ghosts or they detect ghosts or they do anything with ghosts or UFOs or aliens or orbs or Bigfoot or whatever. There's no proof whatsoever that these gadgets, and we're talking about the gadgets that are sold on like ghost hunting sites, nothing to do with them. So you're paying a lot of money for what? Like probably what you saw on TV, it's I don't know about undereducated. I don't know about that. I think there are a lot of people that are educated, but not not educated in every area that's necessary. Sometimes also belief can override someone's education. Sometimes the beliefs are so strong that they override it, and you want to try it. Some people go with that idea. I want to try it. I want to see what happens. And I've done that. That's why I have a drawer full of this shit. I have a whole cabinet. This whole cabinet over here is all just devices that I've usually been donated, but some of them I bought just to see what they do. And in turn, I do videos and put them out there and debunk them. So there you go. But I agree mostly with this. They're not necessary at all. Let's see. Kathy says, tell the negative energy to leave. Use authority when you do. Tell them they have no authority over your stuff. And again, I'm gonna argue the other point that there is no such thing as negative energy. There is no negative or positive. You have negative and positive posts, but that's the flow. That shows the flow of electricity, or the magnetic field. It's not negative energy. It's not positive energy. This is human nature applying human traits to something. It's like when we apply human traits to teddy bears or even animals. Like it's us doing a natural thing where we apply human traits to this to try to understand it better. But unfortunately, there is no negative and positive. You're probably going to argue with me or disagree with me. That's cool. I mean, that's your prerogative, but that's just not how science sees it. So I'm going to move on. Let's see. Bob says, the funny thing is, it worked perfectly for my 2 hours of me. Oh, he's still talking about his live feeds. Let's see. All right. So I'm going through. Kathy is a practicing witch. So I'm sure that our energy gets put out there. And I'm throwing back one too, Kenny. All right. So you keep saying energy. We're going to have to keep drinking. It's cool. I got an hour or so left. And we only been going for like 38 minutes. Wow. Not bad. Tom Nelly. What's up, Tom? Juan Tom. Obi-Wan Tom. That's what I'm going to call you the next time you guest star in one of our videos. Obi-Wan Tom. He says the only thing used more in the paranormal community other than energy, in quotes, is did you hear that? In quotes. You know what? I hear that a lot. Yeah. I do hear that phrase a lot. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? And most of the time, yeah, I heard it, but I usually don't get excited about things because it's like, oh, I hear somebody moving. I hear somebody's stomach growl. I hear other noises. And somebody, I think he's on is he in the chat room yet? No. So I got a message earlier today from a friend of mine, Pat, and he wrote a blog, and he was talking in his blog about listening to things. And this actually ties in really good. It was more about listening to your surroundings and the world around you. And not just, well, part of it was about listening to people when you're talking with someone, to actually listen to what they're saying and not just listening to them talk. Hear what they say, understand, focus on what they're saying and understand it, which is great. That's a good practice. That's what you should do in conversation. Not just pick out things where you're like, oh, I'm going to respond to that, I'm going to respond to this. Listen to their entire side of the conversation. But the second part of his blog dealt more with listening to your environment. And he gave an example of when everyone went to bed one night and when the family was all in bed, he was, I think he was downstairs, and I'm paraphrasing here because I'm not sure exactly what he said, but I believe he said he waited downstairs, he turned the lights out, he had everything closed up, but he just sat there in the dark, in the silence, and listened. And the things that he heard were amazing, but they were natural. They were just the natural sounds. Traffic outside, people walking outside, the house settling, different things like that. Appliances like the refrigerator cycling on and off. These are all sounds that we usually ignore. We don't pay attention to them until you're forced into like a ghost hunting situation, because it's that time when you're in not only an unfamiliar place, but you're also told, okay, we're going to do a 20-minute like EVP session. Everybody shut up. And you have to be quiet. So now you're trying not to make any noises. People are trying not to breathe loud. Some people are trying not to let their stomach go. But you're also in an unfamiliar place where you're not familiar with what might be going on. And you're going to hear a lot of weird things. So did you hear that is a phrase that you're going to often hear because they're not used to their surroundings. And unfortunately, there's a bias there because ghost hunters usually go into a ghost hunt expecting to get evidence. So they're looking for it. They're not looking for they're not looking to solve a claim or to solve a mystery. They're looking for evidence of the ghosts that they think are in there. And I might be stereotyping, but that's the honest truth. I mean, that think about it. That's what most of these groups do. That's just a simple truth. So good comment, Tom. I like that. Let's see. WLFE DB is in the house. I think that's Teddy. Let's see. Kathy says, yes, there are many different forms of energy. I agree. Yes. We can definitely go into that deeper. Kat continues, do you feel use of scientific method is important in paranormal investigations, and why does it seem to be so underrepresented? So the scientific method, I think, is, for me, I think it's the best tool that we have to understand the world around us. I mean, that's it. It's there's a lot of steps. Not all steps apply in every situation, but there are a lot of steps that do apply. And to follow them gives us the best idea because there's rules, there's guidelines. You stay within a certain method, and it helps weed out a lot of false positives. It helps you understand what you're doing. It's a good method. It's not the best. No, that's the wrong word. It's not perfect because there are some flaws. I mean, the biggest flaw is us. Humans are just, we're naturally flawed. We make mistakes. So that's why part of the scientific method is to have others replicate it, or others look at you, peer review, to have others come behind you and duplicate your experiment, replicate your experiments the same way you did it to see if they come up with the same results. So that's really necessary. I think that's a great thing. When it comes to paranormal investigations, you can't do it. You can't do it. And there lies a problem because you can't put in all the controls necessary to validate the data that's coming out. And then, I mean, that's mostly because you just can't do it in a lot of places that are investigated. You can't do it in private homes. You can't do it in historic places. They just won't let you put in the controls because sometimes like to soundproof an area, to cut off all light from an area, you need tools and accessories that they might not be okay with you using in that environment. It's not a lab environment. But the other problem is that you run into people saying, well, we did it this way and that's good enough. And my response, I mean, initially in my head, I usually say, the fuck it is. It's not. I usually say it more politely, like, no, that doesn't work. But really, it's not. It's not good enough. When you have to say it's good enough, it's not good enough. I mean, that's plain and simple. Why is it underrepresented? Because most of the groups in the community aren't scientific. The vast majority are not scientific at all. They think they are scientific, and I'm speaking in stereotypes here, and I apologize if you get upset with that, but unfortunately, that's how it is. I mean, they're the general populace of the paranormal community think that they're doing scientific research because they're using devices like the K2, and you might use equipment that is used in scientific research, but if you don't know how you're using it, if you don't know how it works, if you don't understand how to interpret the results, if you don't get it calibrated, if you don't know the specs of it, then you're not following the scientific method. It's plain and simple. You can put it in your name if you want, but it doesn't mean you are. So, and I think there's a lot of laziness in the community because people don't want to learn how to do it properly. They want to watch TV, or they watch TV and they think that's how it's done because some of these TV shows present themselves as doing scientific research. I've seen that on the new Ghost Hunters series a few times, that they boast that they're doing scientific research, and the fuck they are. They're doing anything but. I just watched an episode and it was ridiculous. It was like a circus, honestly. How unscientific they were. But people follow it and they're like, oh yeah, this is how it's done because they're saying it and they're on TV. Oh, that's good. So what's in here? So I have rum, but I have a mixture of Kraken and the Captain Morgan orange vanilla mixed with lemonade tea. Oh, lots of flavors in here tonight. So let's see. Oh my God, Kathy's like, catch up on the comments. I'm trying. Let's see. Bob says, we know that electromagnetic energy exists in greater concentrations in parts of the world. Should ghost hunters stay away from those areas as results would be tainted? We'll see. That's a good question, Bob. The results would not be tainted if they did proper research, if they set up their tests properly. Because again, you want to go back to base readings. You want to get an overall base reading of the cycles that go on. Like if you're in an area where there's higher electromagnetic fields or strengths, you want to measure that and get a baseline. Same thing if it's lower or different. Wherever you're going to go, you want to establish the baseline so you can understand if there is an anomaly. You have something to compare it to. You have a baseline to compare it to. So that's the important thing. If you have like an area, okay, I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know if these are actually good averages, but if you're in an area where there's an average of, I don't know, like 2 milligauss, and then you go to a different area in a different part of the country and the average is 0 or 0.2, okay? So I mean, we can't argue about their different baselines, but if you get an idea of the cycle over 6 months, maybe a year, you understand, okay, this is my base. So if I go up to a 3 in this area where like a 0.2 is the norm, and I go up to a 5 in this area, that's an anomaly. And we compare it to our baselines to see, is it part of the cycle or is it something that's out of the norm? And then once we establish it's out of the norm, then we have to explore it more and say, okay, what's going on here? What's causing this? So yeah, I don't think they should stay away from those areas. I think they should just do proper research. Let's see. Kathy, Kenny, you need an assistant that will catch up all the comments. Stop bitching at me. Oh my goodness. I am one guy. I don't have an assistant. I need a producer. You're right though, Kathy. I do need. I'm not that far behind, am I? Oh fuck, I am. Okay. let me catch up here. Let's see. Let's see. Kat says, but who's to say that ghosts use or emit EMFs? Okay, I think you're going back and forth with Bob, so that's good. I believe Michael Persinger and Stanley Korn's work may have been partly responsible for what is essentially an unfounded theory. I've followed Michael Persinger's work. I don't agree with it. It has been shown that it doesn't get the results. Other teams that have replicated his results or replicated his experiments have not obtained the same results. So there's an issue there. So yeah, your first statement is right. We have no idea if ghosts exist, and if they do they have any interaction with EMFs? So good point. Oh my God, I was going to get a cigar earlier, but wasn't sure which one to get. Let's see. All right, I'm scrolling along here slowly so I don't miss anything. Jupiter. Has anyone ever offered a theoretical model of hauntings or ghostly phenomenon so there is a why behind collecting data? Just because a lot of ghost hunters believe EVP is a phenomena related to a haunting, simply believing it because you see other ghost hunters listening to EVP is not a good reason. I agree. And honestly, I would direct you to talk to my friend, and I think I have introduced. No, I haven't. If you talk to my buddy Dave Schumacher, he would probably have a little bit more on this than I do. I don't see him in the chat room today. He's usually in, but tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we'll be doing a Three Tortured Souls podcast that will be broadcasting on our Three Tortured Souls Facebook page. So if you come on to that show and talk to Dave, he could probably offer you more information on this, because Dave is like, he's got studies out his ass. I mean, he farts scientific studies. So he would have a lot more than I do on this. And I do believe that there is, like, from his point of view, and he comes from the point of view from parapsychology, which me and Dave go back and forth on this. We usually, butt heads on this. I don't think some of the studies that I've read that he's forwarded to me, I don't agree with. I'm not a scientist though, so take that with a grain of salt. But I really don't see any reason why there should be more study other than a curiosity, like some kind of need or belief that there's an afterlife. So, hey, Michelle. Woo! Hey, Michelle. Nice profile picture. Look at that. Yeah, keep that fucker away from me. All right. Kat says or asks, what are your thoughts on why many teams or individuals only investigate in the dark? TV, maybe. I don't know. I never get it. I mean, honestly, I did it when I was a ghost hunter many moons ago. I was a ghost hunter. We did the same thing. We turned the lights out because that's what everyone else did, and I think that's the reason behind it. I think it sets the mood. Who wants to investigate ghosts in a well-lighted place, that you can walk around, because it doesn't seem spooky. It really doesn't seem as spooky as when you turn the lights out and you're using just a flashlight or a lantern or something like that. I think it does a lot of things. Psychologically, it puts us at a disadvantage because we rely on our sight so much that when you take that away or hinder it enough that it becomes an issue, then you're put in a predicament where you're like, oh shit, anything could pop out at me, anything could jump out at me, and it creates that environment for anomalies. It really does. It also helps with the people that love to use night vision. It sells infrared equipment and night shot. It sells IR enabled surveillance systems. It sells that shit because you want to see in the dark, and the idea is like, oh well, I know some ghost hunters think that ghosts are somewhere in the IR or UV spectrum. Again, I've never seen any data to support this idea, but I figure why not turn out the lights and just use IR or UV, and then we'll see something different because we're seeing in a different spectrum. But they work anyway. That's what they don't realize. They work anyway. Most of these cameras you can set, so it still picks it up. And I think I demonstrated that on one of the videos I did. I did a video with, oh crap, I forget what I did, but it was about Sony Night Shot video cameras, and I demonstrated by shining a remote control at this camera and showing you that it picked up the infrared light. So why they still do it? I think it's just ambiance, honestly. I mean, that's what I'm going to go with. Let's see. Jupiter says, because science is hard work. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I know I've said this many times, and I hope I don't bore people by saying this, but some of my investigations into simple shit, like I investigated the cat balls, and I know that just sounds funny saying that. I hope you all laugh with me, but there's a guy, there's a para celebrity that's selling cat balls, cat like toy plastic balls that light up with LEDs, and he repackaged them as vibration spheres for ghost hunting. And it took me weeks, like 3 to 4 weeks, to thoroughly investigate that, to find out where the manufacturer was, where he got them from, to find out that it was the same exact thing as cat toys being sold at PetSmart and other pet stores. It took me a long time, and that was just for one claim. That was just to uncover one device that was repackaged. And I actually had to track down suppliers and talk to supply managers in order to find out where this stuff came from and to verify that it was all the same equipment. So it takes a long time. Science work, good, solid investigative work takes a long time. So yes, I agree, Jupiter. You are right on point. Let's see. Kathy says, I'm okay with that, but for me, I do know that there are negative and positive energy. See, I knew we were going to disagree. Oh, and WLFE DB, which is the network that I stream on, says, leave teddy bears out of it. I'm pretty sure that's probably Teddy behind there because he's a big teddy bear. Let's see. Oh, Kathy, your energy. Now I have to drink. Damn it. Oh, but I do love the drink. Bob, you have a question. You come up with, I do not hear of many ghost hunts that take place in open lands. Why would the ghost hunting community focus only on structures and not go, let's say, camping and use their flashy beepies out in the open? So I do know that there are some ghost hunters that go to cemeteries. So I know they go to open areas like that. They go to cemeteries. They set up their stuff. I don't see many of that. You don't see that on TV, really. I mean, I can't say that with a lot of confidence because I really don't like watching any of the ghost hunting TVs. I think they're all shit. But I don't see many advertisements for them in cemeteries. But I do see, like, they'll be on a farm or something and they go explore the field. Out the farming field and go figure out what's going on out there and stuff like that. So I'm not so sure if that's common. Again, I don't watch the shows much, so I don't really know. Excuse me. But I don't know. I really don't know. You would think that, any land that might have had a house on it before, would be open to ghost hunts. Camping, I don't know. Unless there's a story associated with it, ghost hunters won't go after it. I think that's just my opinion. I don't know, but I want to throw out there too. If anyone has like a real good debate that they want to get into, and you have a webcam, I can actually bring you on for a couple minutes and we can talk about it. So that's an option. Let's see. Kathy says, think electricity. There is negative and positive charges. The same applies with energy in general. No. Electricity, I understand electricity. I work with it, so I understand it. And the negative and positive charges, that's not, well, I mean, that you're talking about the electrons and, but the flow of electricity goes through, you have the negative end and positive end, and that's usually showing the flow of electricity. But The problem here is if you're going to apply it to paranormal, you need to show something. You need to show some support of that. It's not. It's yeah. One has a negative charge and one has a positive charge. It's not negative and positive energy. It's not good and bad. I mean, and that's what we're applying. That's what I'm applying to it. Negative and positive, as in good and bad. It's not good energy. It's not bad. It's not the electrons and protons. It's not good or bad. They're, one's not evil with horns and the other one with a halo. That's not how that works. So that's I'm going more with I guess what would you call it, like a morality or if you're a nice guy or a bad guy, or a nice girl, bad girl. I don't know why I laughed at that. That just sounded funny. But it doesn't. You can't apply the same theory of electricity with paranormal. You just can't. It's two different things. Carolyn says, which area do you find you get the most resistance in the paranormal community when you give rational explanations? Evidence, theories, energy, or how senses, perceptions aren't always reliable? You know what? It's the same across the board. It really is. It depends on who is asking the questions. If I'm at a panel discussion, it depends on who's in the audience. Or if I'm walking around a conference, it depends on who I stop and talk to with at like a certain booth and what we're talking about. So evidence, I mean, sometimes you have a booth at a conference and it's nothing but pictures, or like they have a monitor up and it's playing videos over and over. So with that, we're talking about mostly evidence, but that can also go into quote unquote theories, which is, according a scientific theory is much different than the slang theory. A slang theory, when that term is used in a slang, what is the word? Slang reference. It's much different. Usually, you're talking more of a hypothesis with that. So it's not any theories, and that usually comes up, and that usually pisses them off because I don't really mean to be that guy that corrects them, but like theory, hypothesis, big difference. Senses and perceptions aren't always reliable. That's a hard sell. I actually thought about carrying a lot of studies with me, because there's issues with there's a lot of studies out there that do show that eyewitness testimony is not reliable. It's not reliable. It's not 100%. People fill in the blanks a lot. More over time. If they start telling stories and they have blank spots, they fill them in over time. The more times they tell the stories over and over again, they fill it in with their own biases, their own upbringing, things that they believe should be right. They fill in the gaps. I believe that falls under the God of the gaps fallacy. But it really depends on who I'm talking to at the time. And I mean, I can stand there and have an argument about a photograph, even though I can demonstrate it. I can actually demonstrate the photograph, take a photograph, make the same anomaly, show them how it was made. I can argue until, I'm blue in the face and fall over and pass out. But I can also do the same thing with trying to explain how eyewitness testimony is not always reliable. So it really is. It's a gamble. It's a roll of the dice. Let's see. Jupiter. Pareidolia. I love that. Might explain at least some of the cases of EVP or instances of, did you hear that? Same principle as hearing backwards masked. Oh, let me read that again. Same principle as hearing backwards masked satanic messages in rock music. Pareidolia is a great psychological phenomena that is visual and auditory. There's different terms for it, depending on what you're talking about, but it's definitely, I think there's a lot of biases and expectations have a big play in it. So if you're expecting to hear something, yes, you're going to hear something. You're definitely going to hear something. And I remember being I grew up going to Catholic school, and I remember a nun bringing in, I forget what record it was, but it was a rock record, and she played it backwards, and she just started spitting out. See, it says worship the devil. It says this. No, I'm not quoting her exactly, but she was belting out these phrases. I didn't hear shit. I heard nothing what she was telling me that I'm supposed to be hearing. But I think it was her own bias that came through, and she expected to hear this stuff. Or maybe she had heard it. Somebody told her that she was hearing it, and then that goes into priming. When you prime somebody, you see it a lot on ghost hunting shows where they play EVPs and they put it up on the text up on the screen. So you know what you're supposed to hear. You read it as you're hearing it, and then you're going to hear it. But if that text wasn't there, you'd probably have a little trouble. If you don't have the proper context, I guarantee not everyone would get it. That's just me. Let's see. Tom, how upside down would your world be if one day you actually saw a real ghost right in front of you and had a conversation with it? So it would not really be upside down. I mean, that's what I'm searching for. I would love to see that. I would love to have that experience. That's what I keep going out there for. Like, I don't keep going out over and over again every weekend, or spending my vacations traveling to places to investigate. I don't talk to hundreds of people over the course of every week, investigating these claims just so I can debunk everything. I'm trying to find the truth. And at the core of that, I would love to have this experience. I would love to have this very experience here. I mean, that sums it up. I would love to sit down and talk to a ghost and be like, first I'd be like, right through his head or her head, see, I can go through you, see how it feels, take some pictures, get a selfie, and have a chat. Like, all right, so how's it feeling being dead? Like, is it cold? Is it dark? Is it lonely? Do you get to talk to other ghosts, other support groups? Is there rum? That's the most important thing. Is there rum in the afterlife? Because if there isn't, I'm not going. So I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Seriously, Satanic? Kathy says. I was just talking about that one. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. They're having a conversation. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Nice to see you. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's see. Rachel, Kelly says, slightly off topic, but I think this is your area. So I was chatting with a kid in the holding area during one of our online conventions, and he was telling me that he's studying zoology in school and that afterward he's going to specialize in cryptozoology. Yeah, I don't see. I know a little bit about this. I've dabbled in this. I've gone on Bigfoot hunts. I know a little bit about the history of the chupacabra, which is a hoax. Or that's a whole nother thing. And maybe one day I'll bring Ben Rafford on, because he did an entire investigation and a whole book that I have on that, up here. Where is it? Tracking. There it is. I see it. I'll try not to break anything. He did a whole book on this and tracked the history all the way to its original source. But as for specializing in cryptozoology, I think that's a hobby. I don't think you can get paid to do that. That's not a job. As far as I know, anybody out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a hobby, pretty much like ghost hunting or UFO hunting. It's not something you can, make a living off of. It's I don't know how you specialize in that, because I don't know if there's courses out there. I know there used to be, I remember hearing about a course on Bigfoot hunting, but that got a lot of slack because apparently it was using funds that it shouldn't have to get the course going. But I don't know of any actual academic accredited courses that would allow anyone to specialize in cryptozoology. So I don't know. That's a good one. And it follows up, is that a thing? That's good. So cryptozoology is the study of weird creatures like Bigfoot, Loch Ness, chupacabra, stuff like that. Strange creatures that Dogman, werewolves, all these kind of weird creatures that are believed to be out there, but there is no evidence of. So that's what it's pretty much. It's the monster hunting version of ghost hunting or UFO hunting. So it's nice. I mean, you go camping for a weekend, yeah, hang out in the woods, usually drink a lot. Well, that's what I do. But then we go looking for Bigfoot, but he's not there, so we end up coming back and drinking a lot. Jupiter says, I'm so jealous of you. I haven't been able to get through to a liquor store to order any Kraken in months. Oh, sorry. You know what? This one is for you. Yeah, that's good shit there. Let's see. Kathy says, and if you play anything backwards, it may sound satanic. Satanic. Spelled it with a K. Okay. I agree, though. I used to do that. I used to spin the records back, kids. We used to have these things called vinyl records, and we used to spin them back and forth, backwards and listen for stuff. But we were listening for things. We were actively listening for anything that sounded like a word or a phrase. So subjective. At the best, it was subjective. Kathy says, what is Kraken? Oh my goodness. Kathy, we have to hang out. We need to hang out. So the next paranormal convention that comes up, and if we can both make it, I will introduce you to the Kraken. The Kraken is a dark rum. It's a dark spiced rum, 94 proof. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's got a light caramel flavor to it. Oh, it's so, I love it. Love it. All right. Oh, crap. I jumped ahead again. Hold on. I hate that. Oh, my goodness. How many freaking comments did I miss? Oh, shit. I'm way behind. What time is it? 9:42. All right. We got time. Let me jump ahead. Let me see. All right. So guys are having a conversation. Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Cryptozoology. You're talking about that. I'm sorry if I jump ahead. Hey, Chuck Sanders is in the house. What's up? He says he turns on the lights for sexy time. Oh, Chuck. What's up, Pat? Glad you can make it. He's the one I was talking about earlier. I don't know if you caught that, Pat, but I was talking about your blog. If you want, throw up a link to your blog in the thing if you're ready, because I know you had some stuff to do with it, but throw it up there. Let's see. Nope, don't want to. That's about traffic, noise contamination. Hey, Maria. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Vibration spheres. Yeah. Oh my God. Am I that far behind? Yes. They were. Do I have them? Do I have them here? I had a whole bunch. Oh, wait. Here's the package to it. Vibrations activated light sphere. So it's a ball. It's a lighted ball. I thought I had them all right here. Like, this is one that I got from CVS. I paid a quarter for it. There you go. It lights up. Let me turn this off so you can see better. There you go. Same thing. Vibration sphere. You put it on the ground. If it hits a vibration, it starts going off like this. And that's it. I don't remember where I put them all, but I had a whole bunch of them. And but I remember buying them. A friend of mine, Tammy, had told me about them. These were like $12 or $13 or something. I think they're more now, like $14 or something. And you can get 3 of them I was able to get 3 of the cat ball ones for like $5. So ridiculous, overpriced. And unfortunately, like, I talked to the guy that sells these and explained to him, like, because he claimed that he upgraded a lot of the parts in there, which it didn't happen. He says he paid for them. I don't know if he did or not, but there were no upgraded parts. These are cheap parts from China that are the same between the cat balls. I just like saying that, and this vibration sphere thing. And unfortunately, like, he accepted it. We had a nice conversation, but he still pushes them, which it's sad. It's really sad. It's okay to agree to disagree. Well, I'm glad, Kathy. I mean, again, this show is all about conversation. We can just talk about things. I don't I don't want to argue with people. It's just a casual conversation while we're all drinking and having a good time. If you get good information from it, if you decide that you like what I'm saying, awesome. If you don't like what I'm saying, you know, that's okay. You don't have to. But I do it just to try to help and put some stuff out there. Maybe make you think. That's all. So Dan, hey Dan, what's up, buddy? What about Gettysburg? What about it? You got to give me more than that. I don't know what you mean, like Gettysburg. Okay, I've been there a couple times. I enjoy it. I like it. It's fun, peaceful. I know a lot of people there that live there, that work there. It's awesome. It's Taryn's favorite place. If Taryn's still in the chat room, I don't know if she is, but I love it. So I'm gonna scroll down, keep scrolling to see if you commented some more. Bob says, I want to see Zaki explore the haunted forest of Japan. I don't really. I do. But from what I learned from inside sources, he does not fly. So that will never happen. He does not fly. He does not get out on a plane. That's what I've heard. So I don't think that'll ever happen. Kathy says she frequents a local cemetery herself. It's interesting. I found a headstone from Transylvania. Oh, that's cool. That is really cool. Battlefields. Carol says. Carol Love. Oh, her profile is a puppy. I love it. I don't know what battlefields mean, if you have a question or if you're just answering somebody else. So I'm going to keep moving. Let's see. That's Bob. They're talking. Oh, this is great. Oh, here we go. Maria, have you ever did any investigation on the Boo Bear? It is supposed to allow a spirit to speak through a stuffed bear. Wow. I think I remember seeing this. If I remember correctly, it has some phrases. It might say some things, but I don't know. I haven't actually played with one of them. I haven't had one, so usually they're way too expensive. Like I won't buy equipment that's like $200 or $300 or $400 because it's just not worth it. Most of the equipment that I get that I test is donated by people that just don't use them anymore, so they don't have a use, and they give it to me so I can really study it. So if anyone has a Boo Bear and you're not using it anymore, contact me. I will gladly take it, and I will. If you want it back, I'll try and be careful with it, but I can't guarantee it. But I do test it. I open it up to see what's inside. I don't know what's in it, so I really don't know. I want to answer your question. I want to say it's bullshit, but I can't because I've never tested it. So sorry. But if I do get one, I would love to see if it, because I'm thinking maybe it has like pre-programmed phrases in it, and it probably works almost on the same along the same lines as like the Ovilus, and maybe it's just certain ranges that are triggered if it hits EMF, certain strengths, or if it hits certain if it uses like a junior REM pod or a junior Thurman device, which is in the REM pod, if it uses a certain frequency. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not going to speculate anymore because I don't want to derail the conversation. But it's something I'll look into if I can. You know what? I'm going to write it down so that I don't forget. Boo Bear. All right. Moving on. Sorry, I couldn't answer your question, Maria. Let's see. Bob says, as a scout, we were told the story of the Jersey Devil at Camp Hart in our area, Ken. It would be interesting, in quotes, to see a story done on something like that, even though the Jersey Devil is more cryptozoology than ghost hunting. You know, like, I don't know if you're like asking for me to do a story or not. I know it's been written about a lot. I have read about it. It's an urban legend. It's a very big legend. And I'm not from Jersey, but I've definitely heard about it. And I don't know all the stories. I know different versions of the stories. So maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I will. We'll see. Let's see. All right, moving on. Juan, what's up, Juan? That's my boy, Juan. Let's see. Kathy's still arguing with me. In your world, Kenny, yes, but in my world, there's negative and positive. Okay. I mean, I have negative and positive too. It's just not energy. Let's see. Oh my goodness, the WLFE network has a question. What do you think about people getting chipped? That is not a paranormal related question. I don't know why you're asking that. But I'm not getting chipped. Not me. I like to sneak around. Let's see. Kat says, what do you think of the work of organizations such as ASSAP and the SPR? Do you feel that an average investigator or ghost hunter could gain from learning about their work? You know, I think I've gone through a lot more of the ASAP work. There's online stuff than I have from SBR. You have to be a member of SBR to go through their archives, and I am not a member, but I have read some of their stuff that's publicly available, and it's always good to read what came before us. I mean, that's integral to research. You have to know what came before you, what investigators found, or what other people have found for cases and people and events and stuff that came before you, so you understand what has already been done. So you can either double check their work or go in a direction that they may not have thought of. So it's always important to go through different pieces of work. The ASSAP, I have been to their website. Some of their stuff is really, really good. I do like it. They put out some good information. The SPR puts out some pretty decent information too. But again, I haven't seen a lot of it because I'm not a member, so I don't get access to their archives. But it's really, I mean, that's why I have all these books. Like, you see some of these books behind me, and I can show you briefly what's over here. I have all these books over here, and bookshelves, like, I mean, they go all the way around the room. And that's because I want to see what people did before me. Some of the people, like one of my mentors, Joe Nickel, he's been investigating literally for 50 years. 50 freaking years he's been investigating all kinds of paranormal claims, from ghosts to werewolves, monsters, to religious mysteries, to other mysteries like involving like religious mysteries, and like Nazis and shit like that. He's done a lot. So learning what he's done before my time, before I was even born, is beneficial to me. So it expands my knowledge. It gives me a better understanding of the past, and then I can continue to progress. So I definitely think you should check out their work, if for no other reason, just to know what they're doing. That's why I keep tabs on a lot of ghost hunting groups and some Bigfoot groups. I keep tabs on different organizations just so I can see what they're doing and what they're promoting out there. So good question. Let's see. Girl Scouts causing interference. Brian Bonner, what's up, buddy? Says eyewitness testimony and personal feelings experiences are not proof of anything. I tend to agree. I think eyewitness testimony is only a starting point. Personal feelings and experiences, no. I usually, I mean, it's still something like, okay, I'll take note of it. Eyewitness testimony, I write it down because, you know, they might have some details that line up, or it points me in a direction to start investigating, but I don't take them as concrete fact. I just don't, because there's too many flaws. There's too many things that can go wrong. If I would suggest, if you want to learn more about eyewitness testimony, look up Elizabeth Loftus. I believe I have, do I have a book about her? I know I have several books from her, from Elizabeth. But I don't have them readily available. She is like the foremost authority on memory. And if you read some of her work, it's astonishing how bad memory is. I just noticed that I have 3 Tortured Souls icon up there. I have to change that. Hold on a second. Let me change that to mine. There we go. Now I'm back. Wow. Okay. So good. But Brian, yeah, I mean, that's something people need to understand. I don't know who Paul is, but Paul is dead. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know who Paul is. Let's see. Juan says, so you're in your favorite show, Ghost Hunters, when they say Ghost Adventures, when they say there is an orb of energy go across the screen, is it really a bug? Or Juan is just saying that because he knows I hate Ghost Adventures because it's one of the worst shows on television ever. Horrible. I'm not even going to address your question. Moving on. Let's see. Maria says, doesn't that theory also apply to seeing random faces in objects like shadows? I'm not sure. I think I'm in the middle of a conversation, but I think that applies to pareidolia, where you see not only random faces, but you see random shapes. You can look at clouds. You can look at stuff. Like one of the practices that I've tried to do, or that I do, one of the exercises that I do is when I see like a tile floor that it's not a solid color, but it's like that marble kind of pattern where it's all squiggly lines or just all over the place. You look at the marble patterns and look for familiar figures. You can see faces, you can see parts of faces, you can see whole figures. You search for them. I mean, we're pre-programmed, and this is based on what I've read about how development, but we're pre-programmed to see faces. We see faces, so we can recognize people, our mom and dad and siblings when we're young, but we're pre-programmed to see faces. So we're going to see faces. That's why 2 dots and a curved line look like a smiley face to us. It's not a smiley face. It's 2 dots and a curved line, but it looks like a smiley face to us. That's how we're built. So yeah, you can see random faces in different things, different textures, coloration, shadows. You can see it. It happens. And I think that we take that on ghost hunts or, Bigfoot hunts or alien, UFO hunts, and we take that to the extreme because we see stuff in the woods, in bushes, in grass, tall grass. We see it in dark rooms because ghost hunters like to turn out the lights. We see like weird shapes, different patterns in these places, and you're going to see faces. It's natural. But good. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. The Queen song. Oh, we're talking about Queen. I like, and rum and tequila and beer. I like that. Let's see. Oh, Kat says apophenia is the auditory version of pareidolia. Yes, it's a big issue. Yes, good one. Thank you for bringing that up, because I mean, pareidolia usually is like more of a general term now, and I know that there's other terms for it like that. So thank you for bringing that up. Bob asks, let me see, how much time do I have? I have about a half hour left. Awesome. Bob says, what is the reason why only humans would have ghosts? Why would we not see hauntings from things like endangered species haunting humans? It boggles my mind that if ghosts exist, why would humans be the only ones to manifest as ghosts? Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments that I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm sure there's people because I've come across people that claim that their cats, their dogs, even their hamsters have come back, and like brushed their leg or snuggles with them or something like that. So they believe that their pets come back. Why don't the dinosaurs come back? That would be great. I would love the ghost of a T-Rex. I mean, I don't know how much fun I could have with that. Oh my goodness. Whew. Just think of the possibilities. Little rum, little spiritual T-Rex terrorizing Philadelphia. Whew. I don't know. But there's other arguments that you might come across, whereas some people still believe that people have souls, but animals don't. So there's that religious kind of argument going on there. But otherwise, I don't know. I really don't know, because I mean, for me, my belief, my idea, again, I don't have beliefs. I have ideas. My idea is that there are no ghosts. So that's where I stand with that. Let's see. Brian says proof of ghosts would be a dangerous thing. Why? Why? Hmm. You know what? I do think, as I said that, I know a reason why. Because then you would have no fear of dying. If you knew 100% that there's an afterlife, you would have no fear of dying. And that would just cause chaos because people would just wouldn't fucking care. You know, not everyone, but some people would not care anymore. Like, all right, fuck it. You know, this life sucks. I might as well go to the next life and see what happens. If I can haunt people, I don't have to eat anymore. I don't have to worry about buying food. I don't have to worry about getting rained on or shelter or anything like that. You know, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go back on my first impression and say yes, I get it. Carol Love says, have you investigated places where the people who work there weren't believers, but reluctantly became believers because of all the stuff that happened? The old North Carolina legislative building is one such place. So I been to places where people who work there weren't believers, but I guess they changed their mind because of stuff that happened in the store. So I've seen that. But unfortunately, like I come in a long time after, like months or years later, where it's more like, yeah, people say it's haunted and there's some weird things. So there might be stuff going on. And I think it really depends on the person. It depends on the employees, because if you have someone that totally believes in this stuff, then of course, if they're going to hear the stories and if they hear a little noise, or if they see like a flicker of a light or a shadow, I'm sure that they're gonna be right there. If they're not believers, that's your question. If they're not believers going in, it depends. Like, are they truly not believers? Like, that's something that we have to record beforehand. We can't be sure that they weren't believers going in, even though they say they weren't. There's like a sliding scale there, because it's like, oh, I didn't believe in ghosts before that, but now I do because why? A book fell off the shelf or something like that. I don't know. This gets into a lot of stuff that we have to interview people and see how hard science is. I can't even answer a simple question because there's so much more involved, like so much more background research that's involved with this. Yeah, sorry. I don't think I can answer your question enough to satisfy you, but I let me see. People weren't believers. I don't know. I think if you're going to change real quick with a few things, I don't think you were actually like a non-believer beforehand. I think you probably had some level of belief beforehand, and it just, as you work there and stuff happening and other people telling you things are happening, I think, you just go with the flow. So let's see. Oh, Stephen Paul. Hello, Stephen. How are you? Let's see. KB with an exclamation point. Yes. Why do you suppose that the issue of falsifiability is rarely a concern among paranormalists, i.e., focus tends to be on positive evidence to support my belief, rather than answering the question, what evidence would falsify my belief? Because I mean, that's a good question. It really is, and it's mostly because of what motivates the people involved. I think they're not out to prove it wrong. They're not out to find the truth. Usually, you have that belief, you have that core belief that, yes, I'm going to go in there and prove that ghosts exist. And the idea of, is there a way to falsify this idea? Is there a way that it proves that this idea is not true or doesn't exist? Doesn't cross their mind. And that's also a big part of science, which, like we talked about earlier in the show, that most people that claim to be scientific in the paranormal community are not at all. So there is no falsifiability. They don't understand like that we need to be able to falsify an idea in order to really investigate it. Or you have like the God idea. The God idea is not falsifiable. You can't prove that God exists or doesn't exist. You can't prove that unicorns don't exist or do exist. they're not falsifiable ideas. And I think it goes into, this is going to sound bad, but it goes into the laziness that comes with investigating paranormal claims. Most people don't. I hate saying most people, because now I'm really stereotyping, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to come off that way. I want to say that the common idea is to just go in there and gather what they believe is evidence of ghosts. It backs up their belief. And they're not, there's no balance. There's no going in and say, okay, what's this data? It's what could possibly, like this idea that I have, what could prove it wrong? Should I explore that? And usually that question goes right out the window. You don't want to do that, because they want to prove that ghosts exist. So therefore, that's what they focus on, and not the other way. So that's a good question. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that really gets into, we could really go into in depth with that. And I think that would be an entire show on its own. So, that's a good one. I love that when it makes me think a lot. So I'm going to keep moving on here, because I have it's 10:06. I have about 10-15 minutes to go, and I'll do some announcements and we'll wrap it up. I'm trying to catch up, guys. I love all the questions. We've been hovering around like between 15 and 25 viewers tonight, so it's really been cool. Let's see. Drizzly, amazing rum. Okay, sounds cool. I'm going through these comments really quick. Dude, energy. Stop, Maria. There you go. Let's see. Oh, that is Pat's blog. He just started it. Well, I think he just started it. I think you had it up before and something went wrong and it wiped it out. So you started it again. So if anybody wants to check out his blog, there it is. Let's see. No, Kathy, I'm not drinking again. Energy. Oh my God. I should not have told people this game. Hello, Jason. Nice to see you. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Let's see. Zach went to Italy. When did that happen? Because my information came from last year. Last year, I went to Vegas. I spoke to some former employees and found out that he had a phobia against flying that was relatively new, and that he refused to fly anywhere. So I don't know when he went to Italy. I'm not sure. Let's see. Gettysburg equals open space ghost hunting. There you go. I forget who asked. I think Bob asked about open space ghost hunting. Gettysburg with the battlefields. Yes, you see a lot of ghost hunters out there. Good one, Kat. Or Carol. I'm sorry. Carol, thank you. Let's see. I see talk of demons. I see talk of, oh, wait, Maria, Boo Bear, $29.99 online. Really? Hey, do me a favor. Can you send me a message? I'm not sure. Are we friends on Facebook? If we are, can you send me a PM with the link to this? Because if it's only $30, I'll get one, and that way I can play with it and see what it does. Kathy says, in my experience, I've experienced spirits in my travel. Wow, are you drunk, Kathy? I think you're drunk. I think you're a little drunk, and you're getting French on me. In my experience, I've experienced spirits in my travels. As far as important concerns, I don't know what the rest of that says. I think you're drunk. That's great. That's classic. Oh my goodness. Pat says, Kenny, will you be at the Gettysburg Bash, and what will you be focusing on? I will be at the Gettysburg Bash. I am planning on being there. So as long as it doesn't get canceled, I will be there. I don't have a booth or anything yet because I haven't been lazy. I've been working. Honestly, I mean, to be totally honest, my work has been crazy. I work in the medical field. So my work has been crazy. And on top of that, I do have my writing. My column is a part-time job, which is more like a full-time job because of all the time I put into that. So I have very little free time to screw around. Plus, there's so many projects that I work on, but I don't have a booth yet. I would like to get a booth if they're still open. I gotta call. I gotta talk to Pam and Steve and see if I can get a booth so I can set up my skeptical help bar, and I'll be focusing on this. This is what I do. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what speakers they have. If there's a panel discussion, I'll try and get on the panel because I do like debates. I love debates. So we'll see what happens when I get out there. Let's see. Oh, Kathy says, "Oh my God, autocorrect. Israel fucking with me. What the hell? Oh my goodness." Let's see, Bob. Bob says, "As for the Jersey Devil thing, I was talking about paranormal stories being done, connecting that to the testing in an open area I mentioned earlier. Not sure if paranormal studies have been done." Let me read that again. I'm not sure. Open areas, Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil, I think, isn't that focused more on the Pine Barrens in Jersey? So it's not really open areas, because as my visits to Pine Barrens have been, it's deeply wooded. It's forested. You know, there's not really open areas there. So I don't know. And as for studies, I've never come across a study that involved the Jersey Devil, so I don't know. I haven't come across anything like that. Let's see, studies, not stories. Cat Ward is a paid up and proud SBR member here. Never stop learning, right? Exactly. Never stop learning. I have t-shirts that say that, which I'll announce later because I have a Teespring store that have shirts that say "Never Stop Learning." You should buy some. Let's see. Jason Gardner, stories in response to the Jersey Devil and the ilk, especially in the UK, around coastal areas where work of fiction to scare people into going into certain areas, like bootleggers and pirates. Interesting. That's good. Kat says, "My own mentor has been an investigator for 40 plus years. I've worked with him for 20 years. I'm still learning from him." That's the thing. You seriously, I mean, like, I use the tagline, never stop learning, but it's not only like a tagline or a mantra. It's a fact of life. You never stop learning. I continually learn from other people. Joe Nickel, who I mentioned earlier, he's been doing it for 50 years. He's pretty much one of the few actual full-time paid investigators of these kind of claims that I know of in the world. And I have the opportunity that I can talk to him. I can call him up and talk to him, and I still ask him for advice. I still call him on some cases and say, "Hey, have you ever seen this?" Because when you start delving into old school shit, he's the man to go to. And also Ben Radford, who I recommended. I talk to him. He's actually my editor. So I do my articles. I send to him. He makes me look smart. But I also ask him for advice all the time. So you can always learn from people. And that's what I strive to do with this show, with what I do with conventions and stuff. I make sure that I get the best information. So if you guys ask me questions like you've been doing all night, and I'm pointing at the comments over here, but if you ask me questions, I want to be able to give you good opinions and good information so that I'm not feeding you something bad or misinformation or bullshit. I want to give you good information so you can learn. That's the point of this. So, whew. Oh, Kathy, gotta get going. I hope I didn't miss you. Thank you, Kathy, for hanging out. Let's see. Let me go down. I think I'm almost at the end here. This is good. Jupiter says there should be a tiki themed summer episode. That's a good idea. I do have a tiki bar out back. Yeah, out back there. So I might do that. If I can figure out how to set this up and stream from the backyard, I might do that. Oh, Cat War says Paul is Paul McCartney. And there was a part in the White Album where if he played backwards, People thought they heard Paul is dead. Oh, okay. Thank you. Maria, you're really getting near me. All right, last time. Kenny in Hawaiian shirt. Oh my God. I think people are making fun of me now. That's okay. That's cool. I like it. Let's see. All right. Lots of stuff. Oh, lots of comments. People making fun. That's cool. I like that. I can send you a link. Cool. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. Hey, Kimberly came by. Nice to see you. What's up, girl? Don't be posting any pictures of that guy. Pine Barrens. There are some. Oh, I'm finally catching up to some of these things, these comments. Bob says, when I say open areas, I mean non-structural. Okay. All right. So any kind of like woodsy area or open field or something like that. Okay, good. Okay. Lots of woods in the Pine Barrens. Whew. Cat Ward says, what do you think about the recent reports that more people are having ghostly experiences during lockdown? Do you feel it could be perceptional bias, i.e. wish fulfillment, or could psychic projection PK be a factor? I really think, and totally my opinion, but I think this is more of being home, being stuck in a place where you're not used to being as much. Most people were used to going out like to work or something like that for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. And they come home, they get refreshed, showers, eat, whatever. And sometimes they, like on the weekends, they go out or they travel. Now we're forced to sit at home or stay at home for much of the day and the night. So I think people are getting used to, or they're starting to hear noises, or hear noises, see things like maybe shadows or lights or whatever that they don't normally see because they're usually not home. And I think that's a big factor. And I also think that the media is capitalizing on this because this is something they can promote and get a lot of clicks on. So is there anything to back up? Like, is there something to this? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And of course, we have to consider who are the sources. If they're just people that are, again, like home when they're not usually home and they're hearing different things, it could be normal noises. You know, like I have a service that comes in and cuts my lawn, and I don't cut the lawn myself. A bunch of guys come in and they go through it. It's done in like 2 minutes, you know, but I never see them unless I'm not working. That's it. So I might be home one day if I have a day off during the week and I'm sitting at home. I might hear the gate for the yard open, you know, and normally like I'd be like, what the fuck is that? And I usually am. So I get up and look. Oh, it's the grass cutter guys. No big deal. But that's a noise that I usually don't hear. So therefore, you know, I wouldn't be used to it. Also, I wouldn't be used to if they, maybe I was upstairs, in the second floor, or if I was in the kitchen, I didn't hear the gate open. And then all of a sudden I saw like a shadow go across the fence outside. I would be like, what the hell is that? It's just a guy walking by, you know, he's going to cut the backyard. So yeah, I think it really has to do with people being on lockdown. I don't think it has anything to do with psychic projection, any kind of PK. I don't think that's a factor. I think it's just opportunity, basically. Let's see. Oh, Bob says that's psychological. When we are not in normal times, our brains start to wander, especially if you're bored. Yes, I agree. Yes. When you're not keeping your brain active, your brain starts going off in a million directions. Oh, I do that every night. Every night, Bob. Let's see. Bob also adds, staying to the end, but thank you again for all this new knowledge, Kenny. Yeah, absolutely, Bob. It's great. I miss you, man. I miss hanging out with you. I miss fighting because we used to be, you know, we trained together in martial arts, and it was nice sparring. But let's see. Oh, Kimberly asked, Bigfoot, do you think he exists? No, I do not. That's just from what I've seen so far. No, I do not think he exists. I think I'm the picture guy. I do video. So all of the alleged evidence that has come forward, bushes, trees, deliberate hoaxes. I haven't seen anything that would suggest otherwise. I'm still open to it. I still go on Bigfoot hunts. I never find anything except for rum, but I'm still going. Let's see. Maria, the energy here is. Oh, thank you. I say that in a nice way. Thank you. And Kimberly, yes, we spar, but verbally. Yes, we do. Back and forth. We have some good conversations. So, and you add, Kimberly, I'm telling Eric Altman, go right ahead. Eric knows exactly how I feel about this stuff. And you can ask him about the time we went to see the constable. Because that is a good story, because the constable and I did not get along at all. And there was a lot of tension there, a lot of tension. It's a good story. It's a really good story. Oh, Bob, he misses me too. I miss you too, buddy. And yes, Tom, Bigfoot's name is Daryl. I agree. And let's see. Lastly, Bigfoot has a bar in the White House. Wow. Okay. So we're pretty close to the end. 10:21. I have about 9 minutes left. I'm going to get in. I'm right at the end of the comments, which is great. So I'm going to get in some announcements here. Basically, I want to tell you my book recommendation for this week is Spook. It's actually a good book. I think it came out in 2005. So, but it's by Mary Roach. She does a series of books, which is really entertaining. She takes on serious topics, and it's very lighthearted. She has a very laid back kind of attitude, but she researches the shit out of this. And for this one, for this book, she actually goes, I'm going to go off my cheat sheet notes. She covers like things like reincarnation, to the weighing of a soul. There's experiments that were done. There was an experiment that was done to try to weigh the soul. So there was a select number of people. I think there was 8 people that were selected that were terminally ill, and they were put on a scale to actually see if there was a weight to the soul. So they were put on a scale that towards the end of their life, when they were expected to die, and they died on this scale, and measurements were taken to see if there was any kind of weight loss. So very interesting topic. She gets into it in this. She also goes into old school ectoplasm, like not the smoky bullshit stuff that we see in modern times in pictures. She actually went into like the old school stuff where you see like coming out of orifices of various mediums, the cheesecloths kind of stuff. And she actually like studied a sample, and she tells you all about it, which is really cool. So if you have a chance, if you see this in a like a used bookstore, because again, I think it's from 2005. Let me check here. But it's a good book. It's funny. She's entertaining. Let me see. Where's the cover page? There it is. Copyright. Yeah, 2005. So I definitely suggest you pick this up and read it, because it covers a lot of topics, not just ones that I covered. What else? I have a giveaway. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I have a giveaway. If you're in the market, and this will be the first person, don't do it just to get the book. Let me explain it first. But I have a few of these. It's by Bailey Harris. I think she was 9 years old when she wrote this. And it's a book about how we are all made from stardust. And it's a children's book. And you can see the illustrations, and the wording is pretty simple. It's for children, but it explains like how we are all made from stardust. So this is a giveaway. And I was going to do a contest, but I figured, you know what? If you have a small child that you would like to have some kind of book like this to explain, like, oh, you know what? We'll just get into the topic that we are all made from stardust, and it's a very science-based book. So if you have a child that is, I guess, Let's see. I don't know if there's actually a range, but I would guess from like 5 years old, somewhere around there. And you're big into science and you would like to have a copy of this book. I have one. So the first, I would say two people that send me a message to my I Am Kitty Biddle Facebook blog page and say I would like this for my kid. The first two people, just shoot me an address and I will send you a copy of this. I was given these by Bailey and her father and her sister, which is Elle, which is I did an interview with. Awesome people. Love this book. So again, first two people that send me an address to my I Am Kenny Biddle Facebook blog requesting this book that has a child that will benefit from this, I will send it out on me to you guys. Only in the U.S. though. I can't ship overseas because that's way too expensive. But there you go. So shoot me a message. Get on it right now. I see Nelson was like yes, and Maria was like yes. So whoever, again, I'll go through. I'll be fair. The first two messages I get, I'll take them in order. What else do I have? So I did the giveaway. I'm gonna cheat because it's getting late and I'm getting drunk, so I need my glasses. Do I look smart? Does this make me look smart? I don't know. Let's see. I have that announcements. So I do another podcast on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. with Dave Schumacher and Tim Vickers. It's called Three Tortured Souls. It's kind of like this. We drink, but we get more in depth with topics. It's not a Q&A, although we do take questions in the chat room. We do talk about a particular topic and we get really in detail with it. So it's great to learn. The last episode we did last week was about controls, experimental controls. And we talked about that and the importance of that, which is really cool. The episode before that, we did energy, the types of energy, the scientifically valid and acknowledged types of energy. So it was really, really good. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have one for me that's under Kenny Biddle, and I do videos and I upload my live videos to there. I also have one called K&D Adventures dash Kenny and Donna. That is my adventure channel with my wife. We go out usually every weekend and we explore new places. It's pretty new. The 10th episode will post tomorrow morning, and we actually explore Philly. We show you different places, little known places in Philly. But please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers on there so we can unlock a few features. What else? I have a Teespring store. I mentioned earlier that I have t-shirts and other things that say or say never stop learning, but I have other designs on there. If you look on Teespring under scientific skepticism, I have various designs. The money that I raise from there goes back into the research. It's not really profit. It actually goes into funding like the Boo Bear stuff. It allows me to buy that stuff in order to take it apart and see how it works and give that information to you guys so you're a better informed consumer. So it recycles. And lastly, if you're planning an event, if you're planning a conference, after this quarantine is over and we're getting out there and starting to do things again, if you're planning a conference or an event and you would like to have a skeptical point of view, maybe on a panel discussion, or I do speaking lectures on photography and solving mysteries and stuff like that, contact me. I don't really charge a fee. I mean, if I have to go pretty far, you might have to bump in for gas. But other than that, I'd like to come out. I like to engage with people. I like to help as much as I can, spreading information. Wait, Bob says I have 126 subscribers for K&D. Oh, wait, it was a different style. Yeah, I know I don't have 126 subscribers. Damn it, Bob. Don't get me all excited. You totally screw me up because I'm like, what? I have to go check. Wow. So anyway, that's it. That's it for my show. I have like a minute left before I have to sign off. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everyone coming out every week. I wasn't sure how this show would go when I really started doing it. I wasn't really sure sure if anyone would be interested or would keep coming back and if it would get stale. But every week we keep doing this. You guys come up with new questions and we engage in discussion, and I see discussions in the chat room, and that makes me happy. That's what the show is all about. So again, I appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and never stop learning. That's my advice. Is that it? That's it. I will now sign off, and I will check my messages to see who are the lucky winners to get books. I might do a few more. We'll see. We'll see. But have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend. And help each other out. That's it. So later.